we have Ms. SaiLakshmi Santhanakrishnan. She is a passionate advocate at the intersection of cybersecurity, environmental, social, and governance principles, and AI ethics. She is always trying to strive for, trying to blend sustainability with innovation and build a digital world that is secure, inclusive, and welcoming. She is also a board member of Empowering Women as Leaders, and she is a proud co-founder of WeInspire.guru. That's a mentorship platform for next generation people, and she is also dedicated to enriching the tech landscape by promoting ethical technology and empowering women and future leaders with the tools that they need to thrive. She also co-wrote one of the books, CISO Mentor, Pragmatic Advice for Emerging Risk Management Leaders. It just shows that she doesn't just teach, she goes ahead and starts practicing it also in her life. And she has a master's. If people are looking at, what is the pedigree, then she has a computer information systems from Boston University master's and an executive MBA also. And as she was mentioning before, she used to be an adjunct faculty in JSON. How many years back?
How many years back?
Yeah, it's been a while, but I mean,
2016. I taught from 2016 to 2018.
Oh, okay. So she not just preaches, but also practices.
Hi guys, thanks for this opportunity to be here. Hopefully, at least one or two things that you all can take away from. I was asked to talk about my tech journey and to see if I could inspire others to take the tech journey in STEM. So that's what I prepared for. So I'm just going off script because my entire life has been an off script. I have not planned for anything. So my journey started with, as a young girl, I wanted to become a doctor, like most Indian daughters, to be, to satisfy my parents. But then when I went for my 11th and 12th after my exam, I was asked to pay a capitation fee. So I walked out. I didn't want to pay a capitation fee. So I gave that up. And then we had a lot of things. My dad got transferred. He worked for Government of India, so we moved around. And I ended up choosing computer science. At that time, computer science was an unknown field. People only loved mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, or doctors or lawyers. So there was nothing called computer science. And my dad was posted somewhere where it was not, where I didn't have branded colleges, there was nothing cool, popular, nothing. It came from a very humble background. So I did choose that. So there was nothing cool about it, nothing branded about it, very small college, and that's my path forward. So I took the path of the unknown, and this is where I am here 35 years after that. I'm dating myself, but that's where I am. So it is okay if you did, the key thing that I want to make is make the most of what life hands to you. So we are all handed with a deck. We don't know what the deck consists of, make the best of it. That's the key message I wanted to leave you on with on this. The next one was, you move forward. I said, okay, I've done computer science, now what do I do? Again, I was at a crossroads where I had no network. I come from a very humble background. My parents are very traditional, so I grew up in Bangalore, in Karnataka, Bangalore in India. But even though it's one of the coolest cities today, I had a very traditional and very conventional upbringing. So I had all the rules that until today, my dad comes and says, it's 11 o'clock, why are you not home? So, I don't ask that to my kids, but my dad does. So that's how conservative my parents were. So given that, I was trying to see what can I do with my computer science degree. So again, we were at crossroads. We had to know somebody, you had to know the people to get into jobs. And then, or I had to make some kind of payment, or I had to do some favors to be in, to get a job. I refused again. So that led me to thinking of, hey, what can I do with my skills? So I started looking outside the box. So I took up a job as a corporate trainer. That's my first path into a job. And it was a very small organization, but that gave me things to go and influence. So I started building. Initially, I started as a trainer, but then I gave me opportunities because I saw problems and I started building software for them. Seeing that, actually, Tata, it's not there. I don't think I have the brand anymore. But Tata was there with us and they came and said, hey, Sai, why don't you come and train us? So I built my network. I had my influence. I influenced people. I also showed that I had expertise in things. So I used something that was not there conventionally and built from there. What did I learn from that? I learned to try with the unknown. I didn't know what the path of being a trainer would take me. I didn't know what it meant to go and work as a corporate trainer. But I built from where I was. And that's what I asked you. Somebody was asking me, what do I do? Correct? The job security. You'll never be given a job security. You have to figure out from where you are. What can you do with skills that you have and move forward? The next one is through this journey, I still felt inadequate. I felt that I was not, going ahead and looking at things that was fully to my potential. So what I did was I took 2 courses. I started working while I was working for Tata University as a trainer. I took up 2 diplomas. I took one in marketing in business and the other one in advanced computing. And I was a top hire from the Youth Institute that was doing the advanced computing. They built supercomputers for India. So I was one of the candidates that was picked up by an American company on campus, and I was the only woman from Bangalore at that point in time. So that led me to see what was unique about me, what was my strengths, because I was competing in a field where men were given the chance. So I had to fight for my chance. I took my strengths, I got my confidence, I got my grit and clarity of what I could do. So each experience, why I'm telling you the story, is that we don't have a defined path. I did not have a defined path. I took what was given to me and built upon that. When you go forward, you don't need approval. Nobody told me that, I had to take those 2 degrees. I didn't ask for anyone's approval. I didn't ask anyone's approval to apply for the job, but I took it up. I saw the opportunity, I did take it up, and I used that, just using my invention and my courage to say, let's go forward. That's how I built that stage of my life and moved forward and breaking the glass. There is the saying, break the glass ceiling. This was my first attempt at that. Moving forward, many of you all always had an American dream. I did not want to come to America. I had no dreams of coming to America. It just happened. So when I got the job, I joined a company that was an American company, but they wanted to hire us for a nearshore operations. What a nearshore was, we were close to US. We were working the US time zone, but we were closer to US rather than India. For example, somewhere in the Caribbean, if you go to Mexico, it's a nearshore because it's close to America. You have the same time zones. So it was convenient to have the customers. So I actually landed in West Indies. So that's my first path outside of India. I had never traveled. I had never boarded a flight. That's my first opportunity. And I flew out, not knowing where on the map of West Indies, the country I was going for. So when I arrived in Bombay, the guy asked me, where are you going? I said, somewhere there. And it was a little tiny dot. And they said, how do you know where you're going? I said, that's where I play cricket, just let me go, you'll find it out. And then that's how I landed in the West Indies. And that was the best years of my life till today. I spent 2 years and I met people from 30 countries. I led a team there of young junior developers. I took up new opportunities to write. I was the editor of the organization. So I played different roles. So the pointers, it was not just computer science, but learning about diversity, learning about culture. Think about if you're there round the clock here on an island, which all of us love to be, with the beaches, the purest beaches that you can get, nothing like what you see in America, the cleanest of the beaches, beautiful coral reefs that we had, and we had the whole island to ourselves. So it was a fantastic place for us to learn, to grow, and I learned a lot about culture. Why am I saying this? Cultural diversity is very, very important when you look at it. Because what you learn on your customer's place is the culture they come from. What makes a difference? So there, I learned that when we have, let's say we were going to Asia. In Asia, an error in a code was taken very personally. So if we were to find and audit anything for a Japanese company, and you tell them that they have made an error, they take it very, very, very personally. Because culturally, they are not accepting of it. So they never want to think. That is the first thing I learned. And when I wrote my first policy, I don't know if you all have ever looked at the clean desk policy here in UTV. I always ask the students, how many of you all have looked at it? I don't think you all have. So when you look at it, let's say it's clean desk, it literally means clean desk. America is the only way where I've gone to the board and people will look at me and say, Sai, why should I not do that? They will leave pay stubs, they will leave information about health, everywhere. It's on your printers, it's everywhere. So there is no privacy. We don't literally look at it. I go to Europe, they take it literally everywhere. So when I audited teams, this cultural diversity helped me to deal with my stakeholders. So being culturally aware is huge, and that is not a software skill, but that's a life skill. But it comes very handy in everything that you're going to go out and do tomorrow. So be thinking about it. So that's what I learned from that. Evolved with the technology. So when I came in, when we studied in schools, just like you, we learned everything. I learned probably 10, coding languages. We had everything. We coded on the board. We knew how to do the circuits. We did operational research. I learned all of it. But it was not that I learned whatever I learned, I was able to apply. But the logic, how you wrote a code, the basic habit of documenting a code, how you write a code, how you define an integer. Because when we wrote code, we had to define it in the memory space before we kind of played around. So how do you do that? Your habits of coding, your clean coding practices that we learned, we applied everywhere else. But when I came here, I was at a point where internet was happening, the web was happening. I was lucky at that point in time when web was coming out and I learned and I evolved with it. That gave me the opportunity to work on huge class customers. I don't know if anybody still remembers Netscape. So I used to be a deployment lead for Netscape at one point in time. So we used to take the code that they did. They had toolkits that they built, software that they built, and we would go out to customers to kind of deploy that. Through this process, I have learned, as I say, SDLC, I played the role in every aspect of SDS. Today, people think if I'm not a project manager, it's below the cadre. If you write requirements, it's not done. But if you don't write requirements, how will you know when somebody makes a flaw? How will you pick it up? How do you define a CI/CD pipeline? What goes into it? How do you look at your QA? If you don't know what the customer wants, how are you going to define the requirements? You can deliver what you want, what you think is right, but does the customer need that? So that interaction teaches you a lot. So I dirty my hands in everything. I've done everything from customer service to going and talking to customers, being a PM, leading programs, leading organizations across the board, across the world, being with the board members. Every path has helped me to learn something. So there is no job that I would say is less than something else. So be open to explore. Put yourself out there. You have an opportunity, do it. That is very, very important. That's what and then I made my lifelong relationships. So that's what I had with that journey. I have people that I can look across till today who will come and stand by me after 30 years across the board, personally and professionally. So that is something that was unique about this journey. So the world became my classroom here. So I learned a lot here. I embraced the uncertainty. It gave me a global perspective, and that's where some of the growth happened. Any questions so far? No. It's very clear. Okay. So the next one I would say is, why not me was a moment. I've had many moments of this. Is one, when we came here, it was white and cake. Everybody thought the world was going to end. So at the same time, we had issues with financial systems. Computers were coming up because everybody was working on computers. And the initial first level of fraud was starting to happen with computers. So that's when the first regulation, the Dodd-Frank regulation, came into existence. So we were asked internally, I was working for a Fortune 500 company, and they said, hey, who's going to help me understand why technology and audits and how you solve problems, how do they come together? So everybody thought auditors were only related to financial work. Nobody thought about how a computer system or a computer platform supporting your business could be a point of failure or a risk, and that's where fraud could happen. So the oldest fraud that I always give an example was, there was an employee who was taking away 1 cent of every transaction that he coded. And he was the richest man. And they didn't find it out, I think, for something like 15 plus years. It was a very simple SQL query. So every time he did an update, the data was going, he just took one, it went to another update. That's all. It was a very, very simple thing, and nobody knew what was happening and why it was happening. The only time they caught him was when he suddenly became rich over time, and there was a lot of wealth that was being splashed around. That led to people starting to think about it. Right? So that is how you can see why certain things people don't correlate. You don't have to look at the big picture. How is audit, how is technology related, correlated? Where do they integrate? Again, I didn't know the answer to it, but I raised my hand. That led to my journey of security, compliance, privacy, and everything that I do today. So when others opted out, I leaned in. So I started working with PwC auditors, and then I started understanding what they wanted in the field and as part of their regulations, translating it in technology, starting to work with my technology folks, and then translating, going back between them. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I got to see the big picture. I not only understood technology, but I also understood the business. I understood where my technology was being applied to. Why does it make a difference? How could I make a difference? So those were the questions that I asked, and that's how I started growing in that field. That was when I actually went and got my master's. So I was already working in security, the first form of security, cybersecurity. It was not even called cyber, it was called information security at that time. So I got my degree and my master's from Boston University. I enjoyed it. I completely enjoyed the process because I was using it for that. And since then, there's nothing. It gave me an opportunity to build, if anybody knows what GRC is, it's governance, risk, and compliance. Those are tools and platforms where we kind of audit all your technology stuff. We look at how compliant are you with your regulations. Are you meeting the law? Are you doing something outside of it? And how compliant are you from, following that? Where are things that we can do better? And what is the risk of not doing? That's the aspect of it. Governance is oversight. Risk is what happens if you don't do something. And compliance is aligning to something. So that's what each of them stand for. So we started building platforms for it. So the work that I had done for the Fortune 500 company was then taken, and I built the first prototype for IBM. I worked with them. I was the co-built with IBM engineers, their first GRC platform. Today it's called Open Pages, but they had a version of it before. And that's where I said, hey, I can innovate. I never thought that as coming from that unbranded school and small city, that I could reach there. But that was a reassurance for me to say, hey, if I took the opportunity, if I said yes, that's where things could change for me. And that was the first mover advantage that I got because I have been with the information security and with the web as long as this exists. So I think that was the opportunity that I took. And it was a bold move. I didn't know everything about anything. Like I didn't know everything about the web, I didn't know everything about security, I didn't know everything about compliance, but I did take a leap. And that has given me the opportunity to move forward. It was the road that was less traveled, women were never there in security. People were pushing away women getting into security till I would say till even 2020, not many women got into security. I would be poked, made fun of. People would tell me, hey, I should go on to the desk, put, your school, because I used to work on Wall Street, and they would say, hey, are you going to go on to the desk and make connections for your network pin? I said, I love what I did. You can go say what you want. So that's how I proceeded with what I wanted. And it was a lot of unfamiliar grounds because I had not learned network security as network security, but we had learned it as computer science networks. So we have to correlate. So we have to go pick up what we learned in academia and bring it to real life, manage projects and deliver. So it was a lot from that perspective. We had to use our intuition. We had to use gut. We had to do trial and errors. We did all of it. We failed. But at the same time, I built my circle to support me. Every time I failed, I could pick up. So the biggest thing I would say, invest in relationship. It is very, very important. It could be a faculty, it could be a brother, it could be a sister, it could be a cousin, it could be your friends, your parents. They all are your network for your failures. Or when you want to do something hard, you want somebody to cover for you. They are the ones who are going to come happy. Build your mentors, pick up mentors. They will be there for you. Who can call you, who can answer your call at 12 in the night. When you're fighting a problem, you're struggling with your code not running. Think about who you're going to talk to. That is very important. That is a circle of support you need and invest in that. It takes a lot. More than what you study and more than what you take, that is very important. Till today, that is what I'm still working on. I grew up as an introvert. I'm here standing here talking to you. She's smiling for you. I don't think anyone who knows me knows that. But I used to be a shy child who never liked to take a picture, never liked to talk to anybody, and I'm here today. But it evolves. You evolve through your industry, you evolve through what you do in work, and how you can give back. So that's where I truly started doing networking. I took part in a lot of work outside of my work. So I put my bets on helping other employees speak, their voice be heard. I built networks. I used to run a LinkedIn group here in Dallas for women, anyone who wanted. If anybody has read the book LinkedIn, it's a good book. Just say, why do we need each other to lean in? And this has nothing to do with gender or anything, but you just need people to lean in. So I used to run that group. I picked up a lot of things. I started volunteering like crazy. I still volunteer because I'm very invested in next gen, and that's why I'm here. So I do a lot of work with next gen. I mentor people in the cybersecurity. I'm part of a lot of the groups that you see, your certifications, your local groups that you could have for anybody for mentorship from technology perspective, women in tech. You see me everywhere. If anybody needs help, I'm there to help. And right now here, I'm doing a capstone project with 8 of your friends from engineering school for this semester. So who will be showcasing it on May 9th? I think they have that, so they will be there. So I continue to do that. But through all of it, I'm continuing to build my circle and my support. So it's not only about not taking, but it's also about giving. So give back to the community. It's very, very important. And it's always good to lead with humility and resilience. Because you could be on the top, it takes only a second for you to go to the bottom. So always think about where you came from and what is the direction you're going. Humility is something, being human is another thing. So as a leader, think about being very human. It's very, very important. It is not about your power, it's not about the hierarchy, but it's about the people. Your success will only come when your people are successful. So that's very, very important. This is my story with the wolves. So I was one of a few. I had no godfathers, godmothers when I went to Wall Street. I was on Wall Street for about 6 years. One of the oldest institutions in the country, which is about 200 plus years, male dominated. I was young. I didn't know where I was landing. But it gave me an opportunity to break and come out of my comfort zone, lead. I walked out the 3 awards. I presented at Gartner. I led, visibly very strategic programs. This is not at the company level, but at the regulatory level. I got the company out of regulatory fines in my first year when I joined them. But what helped me there was to go boldly. I stayed deeply and I was very, very grounded. I was thankful for everybody who helped me there. I'm connected with the organization till today. I know the programs that I put together are still working. It's almost about 12 years now, but they're still there. And I started building my own brand. That is when I started talking outside. I started going out and starting becoming a speaker. It helped me. So every stage that I've spoken to, you can see that there was an evolution. There was no path that was defined. I took the path that was there and the opportunity that was given to me at a point in time. Any questions? No. No. Why? Is it all understood or it's too boring? Do you all relate to that? Yes.
When you were on Wall Street, how did you feel about it? Like, how did you feel being with all the males and the attention?
It was very difficult. Because Wall Street, if you don't know, it works on game of golf and your luck. So all decisions are made on Wall Street bars or at a golf game. Correct? So it doesn't matter how smart you are, how technical you are. If you didn't know the right people, decisions would not be on your favor. Or you always needed somebody to be your speaker for you. You had to have a male ally who would speak to you, and I did not have that. And then being a woman of ethnic color was very, very difficult. So you would be all my journey, as much as you see me today, I've gone through abuse in a way that people have put me down. They have not heard what I've said. They would say things that are very provoking. They would not listen to me. I've been paid less compared to my male counterparts. This is a journey that every woman goes through. If you go look at McKinsey's report today, when I started my career in early 90s, late 90s, it was for every dollar a woman made, every dollar a man made, women made 50 cents. So that was the discrepancy that we had. So over the time, when we talk about women in tech, when we're talking about women's thing, when I had maternity, I had 3 days holidays on Wall Street while my kids were born. Not even 6 months, 3 days. I had to be back at work. Correct? So today we have spoken, because of which laws have changed, at least in the larger organizations. Correct? So, but somebody had to do that. So there were women before me who did something which helped me to grow to where I am today. So I truly believe that what I do needs to go back to somebody else behind me. So it is progress, it's evolution, things are moving forward, but it was very difficult. It was not easy at all. So the biggest thing was I was given, because I had my second child at that time, and she was a preterm child. She was born 4 months preterm. And she was a very sick child. And I had asked for a transfer to any other place where the child could be doing better. They literally asked me to sign my job, saying that they would take me out at any minute if I did not. I didn't even have one strike. Like the only strike was if you went down, you would lose a job on Wall Street. That was how bad it was. But instead of that, I did deliver, I did take up. And everybody respects me today, but the journey was hard. But we did have some allies. I do have some allies who I built over time. It is not trust, it's trust building, it's giving and taking. But that is what your corporate world is going to look like. When I say invest in network, it is very, very critical that you do it. That is where it comes today. When we go to the next one, at that point in time, there was political chaos in the organization. I moved forward. I took a break and I started something on my own. So I had my own organization for 2 years. And at that point in time, I really felt that I had to give back to people like me. And to answer your question, that's where I built a company that worked with women in tech. So we started collaborating, we started building partnerships, and we started working in local. Until then, because I was in New York and I used to commute, my local community here was very small. So to help the community, local community here, is when I started my own organization. I started working with them. We built, we delivered, we enabled people who are younger than us, who are women-owned in tech, they were struggling. How do you put their organization together? We came together, we shared profit. We didn't make a lot of money, but I think it helped us to build a network and share and be there for each other's confidence. So that is that journey of mine, where I truly did invest a lot in giving back, and it matters, and I truly believe in that. It was not about building a company that was very popular, that was very trendy, but it was something that I believed in and what mattered to me. This is a risk. So this was when what happened was I got called. I started working for Amazon. Amazon called me, picked me up. I said, okay. And I started working for them. I was with them for about 5 years. But I exited. I was at the peak of my career. Amazon, when I did not think my values aligned with the work that they did. I was actually responsible for building their security risk and compliance practice. I was also responsible for their Alexa's privacy. I was a privacy officer for Alexa. So everybody, when you say, hey, Alexa, so I used to train Alexa from a privacy perspective. I used to pick up all the flaws of Alexa and say, hey, this cannot go through. What are the recalls and the issues that we had, and work with engineers to kind of rectify it. But I did come to a crossroad where I did not see eye to eye, and I took the step of leaving Amazon. But I think I did make changes. I fought my battle. I didn't leave quiet. I did fight my battle. So I'm hoping people who came after me, there has been changes. The team has been dismantled, and there has been better management now. But it did take a toll on my health. So it was a tough battle that I did go through. So at that point in time, I stepped away. So I think one of the things that I think success means is to know when to walk away. That's the key message I will say. It is not about being on top of the tower, but when can you quietly walk away when you don't believe it and it doesn't align with you. That's another journey, or that's the message that I would also tell you all to think about. And I think you have to take care of your health, well-being, which is very, very important. There is no tomorrow, and tomorrow doesn't stop for you or help you to rectify your health. So your mental health, your physical health, both of them are very, very critical. So as youngsters, I would say, start working on it. Jobs will wait. You don't need always a 120K job or a 100+K job. Start young. Learn. That is the most important thing. Because I used to have students asking me, ma'am, will I get 150K when I walk out? You can ask everybody here who's my age to tell them how long it took us to get a 150K job and things that we worked to get there. Today, you guys do get it. But the point is, it comes with a cost. So if you're going to join Amazon, you're going to go join Google, go with a mindset. But be there to understand, to reset, take breaks. Know that it's a job, it's not your life. That is very, very critical. Because things that you will lose during that time is not worth the money that you're going to have. So think about it. I'm not saying don't aspire, but know your boundaries, set your limits, and then grow with it. So here's what I would like to say, building forward with intention. How do you kind of rebuild? So when I walked away from Amazon, I started thinking, what do I want to really do? And there's something that I'm really passionate about, that is environment. It's ESG, which is sustainability. So again, I'm rebuilding my career after 30 years in security and things. Today I've stepped back. Last year, I took the role of a head of ESG and sustainability. And I have reused my skills. So I have repurposed my skills. But I'm doing what my heart tells is the right. And what I want to do, I learned to ask from it. I'm building from scratch. So I went back, I got my Again, another diploma in sustainability from Cambridge University. So I did go back again, study for it. I have 2 certifications and 2 credentials that helps me to move forward with it. And I have put out a team. We're going to start with our first year's reporting coming out in May. So I'm very happy to say that, I've changed the whole intent of ESG and what sustainability means in the world of technology. How can you connect technology? What are you thinking about? If people don't know what ESG is, it's environmental, social governance and sustainability. So it basically means, what am I doing when I look at the environment? Correct? How am I consuming my environment? Am I doing it right? How is it impacting the people living in the environment? How is it impacting the biodiversity in the environment? And am I doing it the right way? Am I exploiting the environment for my own greed? Am I doing it something, for example, data centers. Data centers and AI today consume the most dangerous things for your environment. Because we consume water, we consume electricity, and we build these huge spaces that have to be taken care of. So to power them up, we are consuming natural resources. But are we consuming them wisely? Are we giving back? Where are we putting the water out? Are we putting it out into a lake nearby? Correct? Is it killing the environment? If anybody has heard the story of your mobile phones, your mobile towers were responsible for all the sparrows in the environment going away. So you don't see those little tiny birds anymore. It's because of that. So how much of damage have we done? Bombay is sinking. Mexico is sinking. Chennai is sinking, if anybody knows these places. Right? And these are true things. So today is April 22nd, it's Earth Day. So take care of the Earth that you have. We all share only one Earth. So take care of it, be responsible, and see what you can do from a sustainability perspective. Sustainability is not saying no to anything that you should consume, but consume wisely. Okay, how are you throwing your t-shirts? How many t-shirts do you have? Are we buying polyester? Are we using natural fibers? Are we wasting? Your paper plates, that's the worst form of that goes into the earth. Your styrofoam, it cannot be recycled. Straws, no plastic straws. Every straw that is out in the water destroys the turtle. So think about it. Anytime glass, your water, I bought my own water, is plastic bottles. Plastic cannot be recycled for years. Even after your grandchildren, it cannot be recycled. It is dangerous. It is an output of petroleum products. So what are you doing then? What is your part in saving the earth? That's what it is, but I do it from a technology perspective. I look at ESG risk, I look at sustainability, I'm doing advocacy, I'm working with the city of Plano, I'm working with the city of Frisco, trying to help them understand why cities play a role. Why do they play a role in the community? How do they kind of evolve? What can we do together as partners? Where can I help them with technology? So that's my evolution, and that's my last slide. I want you to leave you with this, is what did I learn till today? 1, to trust my voice. The timing makes a big difference. Your journey makes a big difference. There is no perfect roadmap. Your values and is your compass. My values were my compass, and I embraced the uncertainty. So for y'all, I want you all to ask these 3 questions. Take these 3 questions. You don't have to answer it now, but take it. Find out what excites you, even if I'm not qualified. If you're not doing something new today, but it's okay. What makes you happy? Because you're going to have a career of 30+ years. You don't want to do what you don't love to do. You shouldn't be like, I'm bored. I'm doing it just for a paycheck. So be a little more excited. Where can I grow through my discomforts? What are you uncomfortable about? Okay? Can you go work outside? Think outside the box. Can you go outside your comfort zone? What can you do there? And what could be that one bold yes that you want to say for this month? What would that be? If you want to say yes to something that you're being scared of. You want to go? What would you want to say?
I don't really have anything. I just want to, funny thing is next month, I challenged me and my friend to a bet, do something we were holding off on. And we would have to spend that summer break that we have finishing that, or else we'd have to give each other a lunch or a dinner. So
Is that something that's bold? You don't know how you're going to accomplish it?
I would say it's something I'm putting off that I was nervous about starting.
Okay, perfect. That's something that's awesome. What about you?
I still want to hope with it when that.
What have you been putting off? What is something that you've been scared of doing or venturing into?
Probably a few courses online, I would.
Few courses online, maybe take that now. What about you?
Well, that's a hard question to answer.
Why?
Well, there are a lot of things
So
that,
give me one, give me one. What would you say yes?
well,
There's no right or wrong. And failure is okay.
yeah, I would have changed my major.
Change your major, fine, you think about it. What about you?
Thinking of improving on skills, like skill sets.
Improving your skills,
Yes, skill sets.
skill sets? Okay,
A lot of resume and career fine tuning.
okay, you'll be putting that off. Okay, it's fine. Stop procrastinating, awesome. No to jump the foot, okay, that's a bold move, okay?
Probably also career stuff. I also want to start a project.
Okay? And you'll be putting that off?
Yeah.
Why are you scared?
No, just procrastinate.
Okay?
I am strong in precisely skill sets. So I'm kind of scared to break through into something that I'm interested, but at the same time, I don't have.
I think after the speech, you should take a shot.
I'd probably say yes to taking a break.
Okay, perfect. I would love that.
Yes to fix my sleep routine because that's completely messed up.
Okay.
I sleep rarely about 5.5 hours, so it is completely.
Okay, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have blood pressure and cholesterol and everything very soon.
Yes.
Finals, put off finals.
You cannot put down.
You're really professional here.
I think he's trying to say, trying to prepare for finals has been put off, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I think everybody's had this like that. Hey guys, that's what it was. So that was my journey. I hope I'm leaving you all with something, but I'm happy to answer any other questions and technologies. Go ahead, ask any questions. It's open floor.
Let me just ask you a question. What was one decision that you made in your life, that your career path, that completely changed your path? Like, what was it?
I think I never made decisions. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I took a chance.
Oh.
Every time I took a chance, I raised my hand. Way back, because even coming out of India, I have nobody in outside of India. I have no family in India when I left. But I think the trust that my parents had was huge, and that allowed me to take opportunities. And as a child, I did a lot of stuff. I used to be a leader in a lot of things where I was not good at, I would say, in certain ways, or I was not popular in. Because in India, we do have a lot of things about, your caste, your wealth that you belong to, the society levels you have, everything influenced decisions. But I was not scared of anything. So I learned languages wherever I went. And because of my dad's travel, we never were hunkered down in any particular location. So we moved every 3 years. So I never had a consistent friend. So I had to learn new things all the time, meet new people.
So you just kind of change it, basically.
Yeah, there's always to limit change and always to be there. So that's how I think. And all my career path, including this one, is a huge risk because I threw away Amazon at the peak of my career. That was the biggest risk that I took, but I think it's a well-taken risk. I don't know, I've survived till here. It's been 3 years now, I've done it so far. And there is, pluses and minuses, correct? But it was an informed decision in a sense, but I was at my heart, I believed in what I did and I took them.
So I know that is something that college students may have struggled relating to. If you have your own position value, but it may not be a big thing. That may not be finding job is the number one thing, right? So that's something I think I believe over time it changes too, right? I mean, value system and all that. As you work, what am I doing here, right? That something comes along the way too.
I wouldn't say, for me, it wasn't like that. I think I picked and chose jobs. I think you were not there when I started the thing. I started as a trainer. I started as a corporate trainer. Very, very humble beginning. And I followed my heart. And if you talk to Vijay, he will tell you the stubborn person I am. So I have never compromised on my values. I have compromised on wealth, my pay. I've compromised on, being with a brand, but I've never compromised my values. So that's who I have been throughout. And I've paid for it. It's not been easy. It comes with a price. You make friends as well as enemies. But I'm happy and I'm consciously good. I can sleep in the night with the decisions I've made. So a job is a job. Yes, the professor has a different opinion. But it's up to you guys. So I wouldn't say that it makes a difference, but it is what it is. Any questions?
I'm not saying anything wrong. What I meant to us in the current job market and everything, obviously there are many of them are interested, land their job,
Yeah.
not worrying about other.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
So women think you should have you manage your time between your children and your mom, especially in the earliest childhood.
I think my blessings was my parents. My parents have invested their entire retirement time with me. I have built that network that I spoke about, my neighbors, my friends. Because when I did my Wall Street job, I used to live in Connecticut. I used to take a bus at 4 in the morning and go to Wall Street every day. So, and my youngest was probably just born at that time. So I think that is a blessing that I had. The opportunity that my family was there for me. So I would have not done it without my parents. So who I am here today is all because of my parents. And I have an awesome husband, who's chilled, who's cool, who is, laid back in a way. I think in a way that he lets me grow, in a lot of times because it's not easy. And he took care of it. But I was also very organized. I had people, nannies who came in, who took care of my children. I was there for them when they did. I planned my schedules to be there for. I never missed most of my children's big events. I have learned, I've I've asked for what I wanted. I had to compromise for it, correct? If I worked part-time, if I worked remote, I would not get promotion, but I was okay with that. That's the reality of life. Did I continue to fight for it? Yes, I did continue to fight for it. It only came through actions of what I did, which I earned trust. So remote work is not something that just happened here. I have been doing it for quite some time, over the years. But to gain that, I had to give up before I received. So I have lost jobs, I've lost positions, I've lost pay, I've lost bonuses. It's come with all of that. So it's not been an easy path, but I think the network has been the biggest strength for me. My family and friends have been the biggest things. And over time, managers. I learned a lot from the younger managers that I worked for. My first manager was a Polish lady, I'll never forget her. Her name was Anita Kraskrowski. She taught me something. She said, people matter. It doesn't matter how technical you are, how strong you are, who you know. But the point is, if you know the right people and you're invested in the people, that community will come to you. It was something that I learned 25 years ago, and I still carry it with me. So when it was my turn, I always put that place to give back, right? So somebody had given back for me, so it's my turn to do it. So that's what I do. Anything else, guys?
Oh, I guess it's time for our wrap-up. If nobody has any questions, I'm just gonna, first of all, thank our speaker for joining us today. It was very inspirational talk, and I hope our students got a lot of points from it and improve themselves, right? So that's very important. So, and for our students that are here, we have prizes, 3 prizes.